Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News for Monday, April 25th, 2022. Stand up for your country. Underreported story that is very big. I love these. Elon Musk. You know this guy, Musk? Well, he is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Put his picture up. There he is. He is about to become the second most powerful man in the country next to the president. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. So Twitter banned Donald Trump, all right, and banned a whole bunch of other people. Well, Musk apparently doesn't like that. So he's made an offer to buy it. 43 million is the reported, billion I should say, $43 billion reported amount. And it looks like the Twitter board is going to sell the company to him. Wow, right? So Twitter stock is up 4% today. This is good news for a lot of people, bad news for others, and we'll tell you who is doing what. But first, the Twitter facts. So as you know, I use Twitter. We have more than 3 million followers. Part of that's due to Holly the Terror Dog, who's very popular on Twitter. And 330 million human beings on this planet are active Twitter users. 330 million. That's the population of the United States, by the way, but we're talking worldwide here. 6,000 tweets are sent every second. Just boggles the mind, okay? Twitter revenue for the last quarter was 1.6 billion. So you can see what a powerful company this is. Now, Elon Musk is the richest person in the world. He's worth an estimated $219 billion himself. He's 49 years old, born to a South African father, Canadian mother. That was in Pretoria, South Africa. He now lives in Texas. He moved out of California because he was outraged by the government there, but he is not a doctrinaire conservative. All right, he's kind of a libertarian guy, but I'm not sure exactly why he wants Twitter. And that's what we're going to get into. We have a guest, and we'll talk about that. But if this comes to be, and I think it will, I mean, the government could step in, but I don't know why the federal government would deny Elon Musk the opportunity to buy the company other than ideology. Because I don't think Musk is going to ban Trump, and that's a big thing. So we're keeping our eye on this story. But the complexity of the social media operation is so powerful. Again, if Musk gets this, he's the second most powerful man in the country next to the president. Because then he'll be able to regulate what gets out into cyberspace and what does not, as what is happening now. So Donald Trump was dealt a grievous blow, which he's never recovered from, by being banned from Twitter. The problem with Twitter, there are two problems: defamation and verification. So when you have 6,000 tweets a second being launched into cyberspace, you can't real time figure out what's going on. You can't. And there's a lot of defamation. Now, you can sue for defamation based upon a Twitter feed personally, but as I've told you, that costs a lot of money unless your brother or sister is a lawyer. They'll do it for free. And then it takes years and years and years. And then there's free speech and all of that. It's not easy, particularly when you're a famous person. And then you can put out all kinds of falsehoods. Well, who's going to verify this stuff? Who? Now, Twitter itself knows that if Republicans win back Congress in November, there's going to be legislation not only against Twitter, but against all the social media companies to try to stop the ideological censorship that's in play now. That will happen. Biden would probably veto it, but it's going to happen because of the outrage over Trump. Now, there's no question that Donald Trump exaggerates. And he puts out there things that I can't verify sometimes. Doesn't mean they're false. Him saying that, there was election fraud. That's true, there was. Does it rise to the Supreme Court overturning the election? Not at this point. That's the truth. That's the fact. But Trump can't be heard. And others can't be heard as well. People who put things out that the left wingers who run Twitter don't like, they can ice them. And I think that's what Elon Musk will stop. Okay, now I'm going to have an interview about Musk in a moment, but I have to run down the Biden situation first, and then we'll get back. And that's the memo. So Joe Biden essentially takes Monday off, every Monday, all right, because he's in Delaware and he comes back late morning to D.C. And he doesn't do much on Mondays. Today, the only thing he did was welcome the Tampa Bay Lightning, Stanley Cup winners last year, to the White House, which is fine. I like the Lightning. I like their uniforms. I like the fact that they're a very skilled team. But that's all he did. Now, he'll say, well, we had meetings, we made calls. All right. But it's a light schedule for Biden. Mondays and Fridays, pretty much nothing. Okay. But Biden's got a problem with his vice president, Kamala Harris. Now, Biden hasn't addressed this, but this is a problem. So Kamala's chief of staff, big position, Tina Flournoy, quit. And this is the 12th person to resign in 16 months. Wow. Talk about a turnover. Now, I'm not going to speculate. I don't know why Tina is leaving. She's going to be replaced by a woman named Lorraine Valls, who's already on the staff. There's Lorraine. I hope they have a good time. I don't know whether Kamala's mean. I don't know why they're quitting. It's unusual. You get a big White House job, it's unusual to walk in a year or so. But this is becoming an image problem. Kamala is a problem for the Biden administration, and Biden's got his own problems. And I write about them in my new column called Living the Dream on BillO'Reilly.com. I hope you read it. These columns, I think you'll find them worthy, so I hope you go in. All right, let's get back to Elon Musk, who I said twice. I don't want to be boring and repetitive, as most cable hosts are now. But Elon Musk, man, if he brings this in, he is hugely powerful. Let's bring in Eric Berger. Now, Eric is a senior space editor at Ars Technica in Houston, Texas. He has been in board meetings where Elon Musk was there, and he's obviously Musk going to space and all that, so Eric knows about that. So do you know Musk? Have you had any conversations with him yourself?
Oh, yes. I wrote a book called Liftoff where I interviewed him at length and probably spent the better part of 20 or 30 hours with him at various points talking to him about spaceflight and his philosophy.
So the book is Liftoff. When was that book published?
It was published about a year ago.
All right, so there it is. There's the cover. I want everybody to check that off. So your assessment of Elon Musk trying to buy Twitter, your assessment, why is he doing it?
Honestly, I think there are several reasons. First of all, he's had a long love affair with Twitter. He uses that service on a daily basis, I think sometimes to blow off steam, and he loves to talk directly to people interested in Tesla and SpaceX. Part of it, too, is I think he feels very strongly about freedom of speech. And for the reasons you mentioned, like has watched this and has not liked some of the decisions about people who've been taken off the service. And finally, I think maybe he's a little bit bored. He's dueling with the FAA at SpaceX right now to work on his next generation rocket, and Tesla seems to be going pretty well. So I think he may have just been looking for something else to do.
Does he like attention? Does he like to be in the news cycle?
I don't think he chases attention. He likes to get things done, and he's willing to run through roadblocks to get things done through regulatory agencies. And so that just by definition makes news.
Okay. He left California because he didn't like the liberal government there. He went to Texas, a conservative state where you live. Does that indicate he is politically conservative?
I wouldn't say he's politically conservative. He definitely feels like there should be less government intrusion in our lives. The regulatory environment in California really turned him off. And so he came to Texas, which is basically the polar opposite. And he's moved a lot of his rocket and car business here as a result of that.
Socially, I understand he's a liberal man. I should tell the audience I met him one time. It was at a party in the Hollywood Hills, which I didn't want to go to, but I kind of had to go for business reasons. He was there. I didn't speak to him with any, depth. It was like, hey, how are you? That kind of thing. So I can't say I have a feel for him at all. But I have heard from people who do know him that he's socially liberal. Would that be correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. He very much, feels like people ought to be let to live their lives the way that they want to live them.
So that's a libertarian philosophy rather than a left-wing philosophy. Left-wing is it's my way or the highway.
Right. Yeah, I would not say he's left-wing in that sense. He's just sort of socially liberal, fiscally conservative, generally speaking.
Okay. Do you agree with me if he gets Twitter, he's the second most powerful man in the country?
He's already extremely powerful, and this would take it to another level. Because let's face it, I mean, he owns a big car company, he owns a big space company, and now he would own the platform used by millions of people, as you said, around the world to speak directly to their audiences. So yes, he I don't know if he'd be the second most powerful, but he would be definitely in the conversation for that.
Well, nobody else. I mean, I'm good at this kind of stuff, Mr. Berger. There's nobody else that's going to touch him if he gets Twitter. Do you expect him to reinstate Donald Trump and others who have been banned?
I haven't spoken to him directly about that. I will say that I know that he appreciates how Trump used Twitter. I don't think he appreciated all the things that the former president said on Twitter, but he clearly understood that Donald Trump was very good at using Twitter to establish a brand. And so I suspect that probably would happen, but I don't have any firsthand knowledge.
Do you think that Elon Musk will be concerned about verification and defamation as I laid out? It's so hard, the volume of tweets that go out, it would be so hard to, actually regulate that. Would he care about that at all?
I think he cares about it. Elon to him, fairness is a pretty important concept. So if he feels like people are being done wrong, I think there will be some action taken, but how you would undertake that while also having a libertarian approach to your social media platform, I think that remains to be seen.
Yeah, that would be an amazing challenge for any company to do it. Well, I don't have any rooting interest here as far as Elon Musk is concerned, but I want an honest social media in this country. I think it's vital to our republic and democracy to have it. So I'm rooting for Musk to get this, because once he gets it, it's his company. He can do whatever he wants with it. But along with that, it's going to come enormous pressures on him. Enormous. Last word.
I agree with that. But I mean, you look at what he's done with Tesla. He's taken on the entire automotive industry. And with SpaceX, he's taken on the largest defense contractors in the world. And he's been, very successful with those two ventures. Does he have enough room on his plate for this massive social media company? I don't know. But his past track record is pretty good.
All right. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate your time. And again, the book that Eric wrote, put it up on the screen so we can get a look at it. Liftoff, well worth your attention. The war in Europe is a kind of chaos where foreign identity thieves love to target American homeowners. The crime is home title theft. It is exploding in the USA, and no, you are not covered by homeowners insurance or common ID theft services. The problem is the title to all of our homes kept online. An identity thief knows his big payday is as easy as forging your signature stating you sold your home to him. Now he'll take out a loan and another loan against your home, and you won't even know it until the collection calls start or you get an eviction notice. So how do you protect your home from title theft? Register your address at HomeTitleLock.com to see if you are a victim already. Go to HomeTitleLock.com, HomeTitleLock.com. Let's go to Donald Trump, as we were just talking about. A New York judge has found Mr. Trump in contempt of court for not handing over subpoenaed documents to the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, who is conducting a witch hunt, there's no doubt about it, against Trump. So Trump says he's not going to cooperate, and a judge, Arthur Angeron, says Trump has to pay $10,000 a day for defying the Attorney General's subpoena. Now, this is all about emails and stuff like that, and I can tell you that Donald Trump does not use email. I know that for a fact. If I want to communicate with Donald Trump, it's got to be on the phone. Can't be any email, no text, they didn't do it. Okay, so his lawyer, Trump's lawyer, says, wait a minute, you subpoenaed this stuff. We don't have it. We told you we didn't have it. But the thing is that Trump didn't sign an affidavit saying he didn't have it. So that then James went to the judge and $10,000 a day. So I expect that this will be appealed, this ruling, and they'll put a stay on the fine. But all I know is that Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, wants to burn Donald Trump any way she can. That justice? You make the call. Okay, Ukraine. So Secretary of State Blinken and Secretary of Defense Austin go over and they meet with Zelensky. Photo op, nothing new other than we're sending more money to Ukraine. So far, the United States taxpayer has sent $3.7 billion to Ukraine. Is that money well spent? I say yes, it is. Because you want to defeat Putin. One of the most important things in this world is to get Putin out of power. And Ukraine has given Putin all he wants. All right? So Ukraine has stepped up. They're fighting for their country. Putin's being embarrassed. The more arms we can give the Ukrainians, the better. Humanitarian aid all day long. Those poor people are suffering, and Americans always step up to help those who suffer. So this is fine with me. 3.7 billion, not, it's an astronomical amount of money, but in the scheme of things, the way the Biden administration spends, it's not. But I'm glad they went over. I'm glad the world sees the United States is rooting for and helping Ukraine against that dire Putin. So on that front, Putin attends midnight mass early Sunday morning in Moscow. It was the Orthodox Easter on Sunday. And he's there. He's making a sign of the cross, and he's saying Jesus is truly risen and doing all of that. Now, a lot of pundits didn't like the way Putin looked. They say he looked sick. He has a little moon face. That's a sign of steroids sometimes, but he doesn't look debilitated to me. But the real scandal here is, A, Putin being at midnight mass because the guy's a killer, as I told Donald Trump 5 years ago. And number two, that the head of the Russian Orthodox Church is supporting the murder in Ukraine. And that hurts me as a Christian. I don't know if it hurts you as a Christian, if you are one, but it hurts me. Because this is the last thing that Jesus would ever want. A country the size of Russia invading Ukraine and killing civilians? Jesus is going to condone that? I don't think so. In fact, I know he would. Yet the leadership of the Russian Orthodox Church, they're fine with it. And there's Putin at midnight mass, hot-shotting it. Oh, Supply chain issues have been a catalyst in bringing high-tech manufacturing back to the USA. My tech expert and founder of Brownstone Research calls it the Great Recalibration, and he discusses it in his newsletter, Near Future Report. For the past 35 years, he has helped his subscribers safely navigate volatile times, and he also answers your most pressing questions, like how to protect your money from inflation. What are the implications of a new digital currency and the Great Reset? What will the Fed do with interest rates? And what is expected from the stock market in 2022? Brownstone Research has been at the forefront of nearly every major market move for the past 35 years. Let Jeff Brown help you by signing up for his newsletter today at a 75% discount. It's a 12-month subscription for only $49. Please go to jeffbrowntech.com. 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 Okay, final thought of the day. My mantra for more than 25 years is we, that's me and my staff, are looking out for you. Now, some people go, they don't buy it. Okay, but I am. And the corporate media is not. Here is the best example, the airline collapse in this country. So we did a search. In the last 3 weeks, the JetBlue situation, I've reported on it, terrible. Forbes magazine, Time magazine, CNBC, Fortune magazine, Washington Post, only media that covered it. And the Boston Globe covered it locally in Beantown because JetBlue is a big base there, and it boom. So just this weekend, JetBlue 28% canceled or delayed on Friday, 30% on Saturday, 30% on Sunday. That means you have a 1 in 3 chance of not getting where you want to go in a timely fashion. Now, Alaska Airline also having a lot of trouble. Why? They don't have pilots. Finally admitting it. Now, where's ABC, NBC? Where's Fox News? Where are they? This is a huge story. Millions and millions of Americans are getting hosed. They're suffering. You take your family to the airport, you're sitting there for hours. No pilots. They don't have enough. They tell you it's the weather. It's not the weather. Now, when I blew this story wide open, all of a sudden JetBlue goes, well, we're going to cut back 15% of our flights starting in May 1st. They had to, because they couldn't get the bleeding flights up in the air. They didn't have anybody to fly the planes. Now, this is a huge story. None of the networks can cover this. Why? Why aren't they covering it? Why? Because the airlines take out advertisements. That's why. Your welfare, and this is across the board. They don't care about you. They've never cared about you. Ever. When I broke the mold and came on cable and said, we're looking out for you and we're going to do our stories about how they affect you, the American citizen, that was brand new. It had never happened before. And then boom, we're the most successful show for 17 years on cable news. Because people said, yeah, O'Reilly's not in anybody's pocket. And I'm not. And I never will be. But this thing got me. This thing, because I saw it with my own eyes. I experienced it. I'm not going to go over it again. And then I said, where is the coverage on this? There's no denying it's happening. The American airline industry doesn't have enough pilots to fly the planes, yet they're still scheduling all of these flights, and they know they can't get them up. Awful. It's just unbelievable. So I'm happy that we could present news that does look out for you, and I hope that you consider that going forward, and we'll spread the word, because the more people that watch us, the more powerful we become. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. I am an AMAC member, and you should be too. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits, insightful takes on today's news, and a magazine full of uncensored content that you will not find anywhere else. Most importantly, AMAC is working tirelessly to preserve the freedoms enshrined and secured by our Constitution. AMAC has become one of the most impactful organizations in America because more than just talk, AMAC gets things done. They are pushing back against the efforts to defund our police, weaken the borders, and replace your freedom with government control. But they need your help. Stand with me and more than 2 million patriots and join AMAC today at amac.us. That's AMAC.us. amac.us, and tell them O'Reilly sent you.
Bill O'Reilly is back on TV and only on The First. No Spin News, every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on The First.